Hey everyone, I'm here again to do another video, and I was going to do a video about the tropics and everything that's going on in the tropics. We just had a tropical depression named Erin that has dissipated in the middle of the Atlantic due to Safarian dry air and everything that pretty much compressed it and fizzled it out and everything. And we did have some disturbance emerging into the Gulf of Mexico from the Caribbean earlier this past weekend. But since then, really nothing has developed or really done anything. So pretty much the tropics are quiet for right now. But it is, again, only a few weeks away from the peak of the hurricane season. It's the second week in September. Just want to let everyone be mindful of that. But today I'm going to actually focus on some good news, actually, for the country. We're going to have a warm-up. And a big warm-up, actually. We're going to have the jet stream pretty much pull pretty much all the way back into Canada. Remember, it's been quite cool across the upper tier of the Midwest and Great Lakes and Northeast for the past couple of weeks. The jet stream finally is going to pull up, and we're going to actually have a nice southerly flow. Temperatures are going to be feeling a lot more summer-like, finally, back into places like Minneapolis, North Dakota, Chicago, Green Bay, going all the way into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. So, pretty much, you're going to see widespread 80s and 90s returning to the plain states and everything. We could even be setting record highs. One of those places is Duluth, Minnesota. Tomorrow, they're forecasted a high of about 92 degrees. Their record for the 20th of August is actually 90 degrees. So we are going to be flirting with some record-breaking temperatures. Going into Chicago, tomorrow you'll be in the mid-80s, but you'll be back into the upper 80s for the remainder of the week, about 87, 88 degrees for you, Chicago, for the rest of the week after tomorrow. And then even in the Northeast, even though today, the 19th of August, is kind of stuck in with some of the clouds, even though some parts of New England are actually sunny, it's still not, very warm, not hot or anything. However, after tomorrow, we are going to get the temperatures bumping back up into the mid and upper 80s, even for places like Boston and going into like Portland, Maine, and places like that. Now, the humidity is also going to be back, so just because the temperatures are, going to be high does not mean that it's going to be dry outside. We are going to get the return of humid tropical air coming up from the south, obviously from the tropics and everything. So humidity levels are going to be on the rise, probably into the 60s and maybe 70s into the Midwest, and then going over to the Northeast, you'll be stuck with probably in the 70s for humidity as a percentage and everything. So it definitely is going to feel a lot stickier for the rest of the week, coming into the northern part of the country and going into the mid-Atlantic. So even though it's going to be mid to upper 80s, it's going to feel closer to some places 100 degrees, and that kind of gets unbearable, for some and everything. So definitely drink water. This is not really a heat wave, sort of say. It's just a return of warm air from the south and everything. More typically what we see in August and everything. Just want to point out that the average high temperatures going into the Midwest are only in the lower 80s. So we're actually going to be 5 to 10 degrees above average for the rest of the week, and then going over into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, we are going to bump it up to average and maybe slightly above average as well. Now, over into the west, we are high and dry. Unfortunately, we do have some fires that have broken out pretty much across almost every state in the west. So if you live out there, just be mindful of, campfires and barbecues and everything. Just very hot and very dry. Just rain deficits are pretty much anywhere between 5 and about 11 inches behind for what we would typically see this summer and everything. So remaining high and dry and hot in the west, not as hot as it has been, especially in July, but still the heat is hanging on. Unfortunately, we still are socked with the rainy conditions in the southeast. However, coming to an end or a break for most people coming at the end of this week, and temperatures are going to actually bump up to about average in the upper 80s in the Carolinas and going into Georgia. So finally, you're going to see at least some relief for a little time and everything. We are going to have another cold front push through this upcoming weekend. Not really sure how strong it is going to be, but it could be ushering in another cool shot of unseasonably cool temperatures back into the Midwest and going over into the Northeast. But we'll wait and see what happens with that. But just want to give you a video and an update on that summer is actually coming back for a little while. Remember to keep your eye to the sky, and I'll be back again real soon.